I've been dogging Kizaru the last couple weeks, and finally this man about to bust. No, not like that. Like, he about to flip. He about to change sides. Like, you know what I mean? So the Marines are pretty much about to evacuate Egghead, like, Saturn about to give Egghead that Lelouch treatment. And I mean, if y'all saw that episode, like I saw it, that episode was cold. That episode was nasty. Saturn pretty much says to everybody that he and Kizaru are gonna stay behind. And you see what's crazy, right? Is that this is the perfect opportunity for Kizaru to stab Saturn in the back. Like, this man is about to become a rogue Marine. Can't nobody tell me different. The panel pretty much goes to Kizaru. Kizaru's talking to one of the vice admirals. He then tells the vice admiral to just go. His demeanor is the thing that's throwing me off, because he got the demeanor of an individual who's basically being forced to do something that they don't actually want to do. Like, I'm sitting here thinking, nah, something's off. Something is off about this man. Y'all probably watching this from YouTube recommendations. To be honest, whenever I look at my analytics, it turns out that most of the guys who actually watch this aren't even subscribed. So if y'all can do me a solid and hit that subscribe button and hit that like button, I'll be very grateful. Vega Punk is even begging this man to at least have some sense of humanity. And Kizaru looks away. As far as I know, from what I can tell from the actual panel, if Kizaru does not betray the Marines in this arc, I promise you he is not going back to HQ the same. He will probably close his own chapter, if you know what that means. I feel like every chapter has thrown like subliminal jabs at Kizaru to the point where it's just jabbing him just emotionally, just trying to provoke a response. And each response has been bigger and bigger to the point where he's about to go nuclear. I feel like in Kizaru's mind, he's having like a whole Tom and Jerry chase sequence right there. It really makes me feel bad for Kizaru at this point, because it feels like, he has a genuine sense of humanity, and over the course of his time being a Marine, he's gradually just been diluted of that. Like, it's been stripped away from him. Saturn pretty much states that he actually made the order for the fleeing ship that left Egghead to basically be destroyed. At this point, I feel like the Gorosei are pretty much exposing themselves. Like, the Navy in particular, they already have their own sense of justice, where there's a line of the morality that they operate within. I feel like, some members operate a little bit more on the extreme end, and some actually on the other end of that spectrum, where they have a better sense of humanity. For example, like Smoker and Tashigi, Fujitora. I feel like Saturn exposing himself the way that he has is almost forwarding the agenda of Kizaru flipping on the world government. Looking at the backstory between Kuma, Vegapunk, Bonnie, Kizaru, Sentomaru, you can tell Kizaru actually has a personality. I mean, this man was doing the Nika dance. I mean, I feel like you gotta have quite the personality to do a dance like that. His personality has almost just been wiped away over his time in the Marines, and him seeing Luffy and Bonnie and everybody he's seen who he has some sort of history with is bringing that personality back out. And I feel like it's almost like standing on thin ice. Each chapter is a step, and with each step, the ice just cracks even more to the point where we about to fall in. All in, baby, all in. Vegapunk even tells Saturn, where's the humanity in regards to what you're doing? I thought y'all was after me. And Saturn's like, hey, look, all fair in love and war, baby. Doesn't really matter. There's an opportunity they could know what they know. Even if they don't, I mean, the best secrets are kept by the dead. This man stands on business. He's not taking no chances. This is how the Gorosei actually operate. When Sabo was about to expose Emu for being the world ruler, they destroyed Lelouch because they thought that's where Sabo was in its entirety. They don't take any chances at all. There isn't any sense of justice that the Gorosei actually have. And I feel like just as time goes by and they begin to expose themselves even more, the Marines that actually have a sense of humanity will actually turn on the Gorosei, because the Gorosei and the Navy, they're two different entities at this point. Well, not at this point, but within its entirety. I mean, the Gorosei run the Navy. There's an aspect of the Navy that don't see the actual Gorosei or see how they operate. So they're just following orders from just the higher up in the Navy. If we're looking at the moral compass between the admirals, Akainu, Ryukugyu, I would put them on the extreme end of the spectrum of morality, in the sense that they would prioritize justice in its entirety as opposed to being more humane or having a better sense of morality. Kizaru is definitely below them. I would put him in the middle just because of the history that I've actually seen and seeing his backstory. Fujitori and Aokiji, they're definitely at the bottom. Like, if there are people that you could talk to one-on-one, individuals that you could try to have empathize with you, it would definitely be those guys. As that discrepancy gets bigger and bigger, especially seeing how Saturn is operating in this sense, Kizaru's humane side will come through, and that's what's gonna actually push him to actually turn on the world government, or at least on the Gorosei in particular. I feel like he'll always be a Navy member, but he'll be a part of the Navy that actually has a sense of morality. So the rest of the Straw Hats, Bonnie, Kuma, Vega Punk, and the Vega Punk variants, to be honest, I kind of forget their name low-key. They're in the process of trying to escape through the rocket tube, in order to go to the Labo Stratum. And you can tell Kizaru is just half-assing this whole event, because he destroys the tube. He doesn't exactly destroy them. Like, he could have easily destroyed them in that tube. Like, let's be real, it's Kizaru. Kizaru is faster than light. Well, he's as fast as light because he is light. They're all suspended in the air, and they're about to be destroyed by the Pacifista. Saturn pretty much says the designs of our Pacifista are based off you, and they're the same designs that are actually going to get rid of you. I'm not sure when Kizaru's going to turn, but I am not letting this go. He is definitely going to flip. He is going to turn 100%. It also turns out that they may actually be using the Sunny to actually get away, but I mean, I'm still a little hazy on how that's actually going to fabricate itself. Luffy's still eating, and I mean, they trying to cuff him, and to be honest, I really don't know who gonna rescue this man at this point, because he just there chilling. But I mean, as soon as he gets his energy back, I guess it's anime logic, because back in Whole Cake Island, where Luffy had lost a tooth and then he drank some milk and then the tooth grew back, I feel like him being as full as he is, he just gonna get rid of that. He gonna burn that off the moment he going to Gear 4th or whatever. But I mean, the only people around him are actually fodder. I mean, he don't need all that. Jinbei's gone after Zoro, or at least to break up Zoro and Lucci, because at this point, I mean, the whole island's gonna go up in flames. So Zoro can definitely beat Lucci, hands down. I mean, I'm not letting that go either. I think it's better to make sure that Zoro actually makes it back, because knowing Zoro, he gonna get lost, and then that's gonna be a whole problem in itself. Now, the most interesting part of the actual chapter is that the warship that was actually sent by Saturn to destroy that fleeing ship was destroyed, so they actually failed. So I'm sitting here wondering who destroyed that warship. Last we checked, it might be Katarina Devon, but then the Blackbeard pirates aren't exactly the most humane pirates either. I mean, they're dirty pirates for the most part. I mean, pirates are normally dirty. I don't think it's the Blackbeard pirates, but at this point, they were the only ones who were actually lurking around at that point in time. I really don't know who's around, but to be honest, I am beyond excited to see the end of Egghead, because Egghead right now is in flames. Like, Egghead is so fire right now. I'm wondering who's actually there, because it makes me sit there and wonder how and who is actually going to aid the Straw Hats. I mean, I still think Kizaru gonna come out with that W, and he gonna help him out. I mean, he not gonna be besties, but I would put him more into the Smoker type lane. Smoker was an antagonist for the Straw Hats at one point, but I feel like once it got into the New World, he became more of an ally. But I definitely think Kizaru isn't going to be as hard-headed. I mean, I've never really seen him as hard-headed, but I definitely don't think he's going to stand on business when it comes to justice as much as he has after this arc is done. I don't think he's going to turn on the Navy in its entirety. I definitely think he's going to flip enough to let the Straw Hats get away. This chapter was fire, man. I definitely enjoyed it. At least we ain't got no break, and there's a chapter next week too. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll holler at y'all later, man. Peace.